Hello and welcome to Dialogue. US President Donald Trump has dramatically escalated pressure on Russia this week to end its attacks against Ukraine. The moves include announcing new weapons to Kiev and threatening direct and secondary tariffs on Moscow and those who do business with it if peace isn't reached in 50 days. What has caused this U-turn on Trump's stance on the conflict? What could be Russia's response as more European countries join the US scheme to ship weapons to Ukraine? And how will these moves impact the situation in the battlefield? Join us for our discussion today, live from Beijing. I'm Xu Qinduo. Ruslan Bortnik, director of the Ukrainian Institute of Politics. Ruslan, given how Trump treated President Zelensky, some time ago, not long that ago, so I would say this is a welcome gesture for Kiev. After all, people are concerned or were concerned with, whether Trump government will continue to support weapons to Ukrainian side, right?
Nothing personal, just a business, and in politics, this is a main approach on treating different things. And I think the different statements from the Trump side towards Zelensky depended on the time and on the phase of Ukrainian-United States negotiation. I want to remind you that Ukraine signed a bilateral deal with United States, and after it, the rhetoric from the Trump side toward Ukraine, the Ukrainian leader, changed significantly. Trump doesn't demand to make a new election in Ukraine. Trump stopped criticize a lot of Ukrainian government, and moreover, that wing, left or right wing inside of Trump team, which is strictly against Ukrainian leader. We are talking about the Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson, and other persons. Now they are out of the team, and this it's also make a significant change and influence on the situation. But adding to your previous question, I want to say that I'm some disagree with my colleague, because I see a significant change in Trump's policy toward Ukraine, because previous United States administrations sent to Ukraine different supplies for the sum of from 100 billion United States dollars till 350 billion United States dollars. And the new deal between the United States and NATO about supplying to Ukraine the weapon means that the United States is not going to continue this supplying for free. United States is trying to make a distance from this war, from this conflict. United States is no more the participant of this war. The United States is no more the ally of Ukraine or this war, but the United States is still a partner of a military trade in this war for Ukraine, and United States still a guarantee for European countries which are belonging to NATO from the point of their security, but not Ukrainian security. Moreover, this question about the sanctions toward Russia, it's also so kind of approach to take a pause. 50 days is very long term, to take a pause and to don't make any decisions right now on Russia and Ukraine. It's a part of United States strategy to look as kids are fighting in the park in the time when these kids are not ready to stop this fight until the end, after the sometime go back like an arbiter or judge in this situation.
Ruslan, do people in Ukraine expect, the change of heart of Trump and also his continued supply of weapons to Ukraine through NATO will become a game changer on the battlefield?
I don't think so. Ukrainian people are still very realistic in this situation, and no one weapon or weapon supplies from Ukrainian side could change significantly the battlefield, of course, situation. But it gives the new supplies gives Ukraine more time, and of course, if we are comparing the resources of Ukraine is Russia, this comparison is not for Ukrainian side. But we need to understand this. We don't have just a Ukrainian-Russian war. We have a very internationalized conflict, and behind the Ukraine, behind the Russia, there is a group of allies which are supporting each of sides. And we counted that more than 80 countries in the world are taking part in this conflict, not in strictly way, but they are sending supplies, military, they are supporting very active one of the side. So we have very internationalized conflict, and the only Ukrainian or only Russian resources maybe doesn't matter so much if we are not taking into account all resources from their allies. Ukraine used our own resources in 2022, but we continue in our war on the resources of our allies, except of demographical resources, which is still on Ukrainian side. Of course, no one believes in the significant change in the battlefield, but that it gives time for Ukraine, and there is a small hope that during this time something will happen inside of Russia, inside of allies around Russia, maybe, and many of Ukrainian commentators are saying that maybe United States and Trump will broke relations with Putin at all, and maybe Trump will be back to the conflict, like maybe Trump will take the shoes of the Biden administration in this situation, so it could leverage the Ukrainian chances and the Russian chances in this war. Of course, me personally, I'm supporter of the peace resolution. I don't believe that there is a military decision in this conflict, but I'm sure that without the straight participation of United States in peace negotiation, Ukraine and Russia are not able to find the solutions. The level of distrust between the sides, the long term of conflict, more than 10 years we have such a conflict. This conflict, it doesn't let the sides to find the solution in this war. So the most possible scenario for nowadays is continuation of the war with some episodical escalations, and long-range weapon of United States could make a symbolic damage for Russia. For example, if Ukraine will use it against Moscow or another big or symbolic Russian places. But at the same time, we will see a negotiation process. And if United States will be out of this process, this negotiation process will not be also successful. It could be only a diplomatic play, during which both sides will try to show how they will in the peace, but at the same time, they will be fighting as much as they can.
Well, Ruslan, of course, inside Ukraine, President Zelensky said, he had a very good conversation with Trump, and that the pair had agreed to catch up more often by phone. Obviously, the president is happy with the announcement by Trump. And also, he's basically looking at a major cabinet reshuffle with a possible new prime minister and a defense minister. What is behind this cabinet reshuffle? How does it relate to the situation in the battlefield?
I don't think that it will be a significant influence on the battlefield, but there are a few political reasons for this reshuffle of Ukrainian government. The first reason that the previous government was extremely unpopular in Ukrainian society. More than half of Ukrainians, more than 50% of Ukrainians don't trust this government. And of course, so high anti-ratings are making a huge influence on the reputation on person of president of Ukraine. So they need to put out some steam from this kettle, from this political kettle, because we don't have long time for election in Ukraine. We don't have some significant changes in the government, but at the same time, situation is inside the country very crisis situation. We have a very pessimistic public opinion now in Ukraine. And the second reason, very important also, so it means that new faces in the government maybe will grow up the level of the trust towards the power in Ukraine. The second reason is also very important and depends on the figure of a new prime minister of Ukraine, Yulia Sviridenko. Yulia Sviridenko is a very significant person who signed the minimal agreement with the United States. So this reshuffle of Ukrainian government is also an attempt to restart the negotiations, the relations with the United States, with the new administration inside of United States. And the third reason is many ministers lost the trust in the eyes of the president, and many chairs in the government were almost empty, and some technical issues should be also resolved.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, inside the U.S., Trump is also dealing with the criticism of continuing with the continuous supply of weapons to Ukraine from his MAGA base. With that, we are coming to the end of today's show. Many thanks to our guests. You can also find us on the CGTN app on YouTube. I'm Shiqin Duo. Thanks for being with us. See you next time.